I made a little mistake here, which I will show you. Actually, I made several mistakes here. I think I'm only going to show you two, though. Are you looking for junk journal, pocket, paperclip, and page ideas? Well, I've got 3 pockets to show you, including an adorable mini accordion pocket folder, a retro giant paperclip tutorial, a new typing discovery that has me giddy, and I even have a little sneak peek at the gorgeous vintage goodie I'm using for my next junk journal cover. Here we go, y'all. Well, hello and welcome to Pink Paper Peppermints. My name is Melissa and I'm so glad you're here. Today I'm sharing with you my not new kit, Redeemed. I actually filmed this video before our whole dystopian nightmare began, and then I didn't do the voiceover, and then some things happened in life and I just needed to take a break. So you may have noticed a little bit of an absence from me. I apologize for that, but I am back now. And so since I was gone for a while, I decided what I would do is keep the bundle special up. The whole time I was gone, actually, it was up in my shop, and I'm going to keep it up again until I think the end of this month, since I didn't have a video to show you kind of what was in the kit and how to use it. So that bundle is up right now if you are interested, and it's a really good deal. And also the individual items are there as well if you just want 1 or 2 things from the kit. So this kit is inspired by the 70s, as you can see, the groovy 70s and the Jesus movement at that time. So there's a lot of fun things in it from that time. These are the flashcards. They are all names of Jesus. So I've been really excited. I want to do a whole book just with these flashcards because I think it'll be really fun. And then all the pieces of the kit have to do with things from the 70s. But incorporating faith and so that you can use them in your faith art. These are all record albums and 8 tracks. If anybody remembers big stacks of 8-track cassettes, I'm not saying I do, I'm just saying you might. No, I totally do. But these are record sleeve pockets, so you can use them as pockets and put the little record sleeves in, or I'm going to show you some other fun things that you can do with them here in a little while. And these are the giant journaling tags that coordinate with the kit. I absolutely love these giant tags. I think that you guys like them as much as I do because you've been using them a lot, but they are 8x4, so they fit in a standard traveler's notebook insert, but you can also make so many fun things with them. These are the ephemera pieces, which are inspired by a lot of my childhood memories of the little prairie girl and butterfly and rainbow stickers and all kinds of fun things. And I'm going to show you some fun ways to use these here in just a minute as well. There's the strawberries. Do you remember strawberries? And the mushrooms. I had a hot pink mushroom stool in my room. It was a furry hot pink mushroom, and it sat under the window in my room, and I would remember sitting on it and writing in my little diary when I was a little girl. So that's such a good memory. The little van, I think, is super fun, and the mug. I remember my mom had a lot of mugs like that, the tall one, pedestal ones. And then, of course, a set of labels to use with however you want to. I'm going to show you some fun ways in the next video on how to use those labels, and some different things that you can use for stickers or die cuts, however you want to use them in your journal. So I think that you're going to love this kit. I think you're going to love working with it. It's bright, fun summer colors, and we could all use a little bright fun right now, I think. I certainly can. I've actually had to stop watching the news completely so that I could get my mind back on Jesus. So I don't actually know what's going on right now, but I know it's probably still not good. So these are the pattern papers that go with the kit, and they come in the bundle, and you can also purchase them separately. And they have all the different pattern papers from the different individual sections of the kit, plus an additional 14 original pattern papers. And this little set of cassette tapes is actually free with the bundle. You can purchase it individually, but these are free. They come free in the bundle. So if you like these, I'm going to show you something so fun that you can make with these cassette tapes. And there's the paper that comes in that as well that's on the back. It's kind of a pretty marbly paper. So the Traveler's Notebook insert actually has this pretty colored ledger paper as the pages. And then I've also inserted a page here from my Rhythms of Grace Traveler's Notebook. I love mixing up the different Traveler's Notebooks insert pages together, and the hymnal is one of my favorites to slip into my different Traveler's Notebook junk journals. That's hard to say. So I'm using this elastic, which I've talked about in my other videos, so that I can temporarily put my book into the cover, and I can take it out and sew things in. This is one of the giant journaling tags, and I decided that I want to make a pocket out of it, one of the fun things that you can do with these. So I'm going to cut that off and create a little pocket in the front of my book. And these are those wonderful Manila pockets. I'm sure you've heard me talk about these before. I will link them below. They're my favorite thing to keep little bits and pieces of ephemera in once I've cut them out, and it really keeps me organized when I'm working on a project. So I've got all my little pieces cut out now, and I'm just going to try and figure out where I want them on the page and on the pocket. And while I'm doing that, I just thought I would ask you how you're doing during all of this. Are you doing okay? Is this super hard for you, or has this been a blessing for you, the extra time? Are you watching the news, or do you just stay away from it? I would love to talk about it in the comments, because those are all things that I have been struggling with. So I've got all my pieces layered up here now on my cover page, and I'm just tucking one more little flower in, and I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine and sew all these layers together. Of course, if you don't sew, you can use adhesive to put them all together, but I love to sew. I added a couple of vintage sequins on the front to give it a little sparkle, and I left some room for a pocket for this little tag to go in the top there, and I've typed a scripture on it on my vintage typewriter with pink typewriter ribbon. You guys know I love that, and I'll link that below as well. I found a source for colored typewriter ribbon. They have all different colors, and it's so fun. So that is my cover page, and I really like the way it came out, and this is my little pocket. And before I put it together, I wanted to take some sandpaper and just rough it up a little bit. When you print printables, a lot of times they can look very new, and so I wanted to give it a little bit of some texture. And then I'm adding some sequins. You can see I used the point of my scissors there to add those tiny little sequins because I need some more sparkle on that pocket. And so I've got that all ready now, and I'm just going to attach it. I've got adhesive already here on 3 sides, and I'm just going to attach it to the front cover. And normally I would sew that on. This time I decided to use adhesive. I'm not actually sure why. Maybe because it was on the cover, although usually that doesn't bother me, so I don't know. I just decided to use adhesive. I was probably in a hurry and wanted to get it on. So these are the journal cards, and I'm just deciding which one that I want to use in my little pocket. I like to do a pocket at the front like this with something journaled on the back to kind of give the date of the journal and what it's about or what my thoughts are about it. And so that's what I do with that pocket. And I decided I really liked this one for my pocket, and I'm just going to add some decorations to it. What I usually do is sew some ribbon and things on the top, and that's what I did here. I've sewn some seam binding and some ribbon and a silk flower. Actually, I think I actually stapled it instead of sewed it. I used my Tim Holtz tiny attacher and stapled that right on, which is even faster, and tucked that in. And I love putting ribbon on the top of tags and things so that it pops out the top of my book, because I really like that look. So the next thing I want to show you is really fun. First, on the opposite page, I've got this piece of vintage hymnal that I was experimenting with inks on. And so I'm going to put that on that side. I think I'm going to attach it to the page there. And on the opposite page, I discovered a really fun trick. This is a piece of crepe paper. I didn't discover crepe paper, I knew about that, but I decided to try and type on it. So I will show you that here in just a minute, but I wanted to create kind of a little ribbon look on my page, and I've just got some seam binding and a little silk flower, and I'm going to attach all of that to the ribbon. But I took the crepe paper and I attached it just to a regular piece of paper with washi tape, and I ran that through my printer, and it typed on it just fine, and I absolutely love the look of that. It is so fun. I'm going to be typing on my vintage typewriter on streamers forever now, because I really, really liked it. And again, I used my pink typewriter ribbon, so it's even prettier. This is a little piece of text from a vintage book that went along with my page, and I'm just going to attach it to the bottom of the page there. And then I've left that page for myself to journal on. So I'm snipping off the back stem part of my little silk flower, and I'm using the Fabrifix to attach it to the crepe paper, and then I'll use the Fabrifix to attach that to the page. And then I attached a little tag that I had sewn some sequins on to it, and you can see it there. And now I'm going to make a paper clip with some of the ephemera, and it's super easy. You just need one of these jumbo paper clips. I got mine at Hobby Lobby, I think, and a silk flower, and we're going to be attaching some of the ephemera to the center of the silk flower. So the first thing you want to do is just snip off that stem because we don't need that. We want it to be flat on the back so that we can cover the back up, and just kind of arrange it on the paper clip where you want it. And I am using Fabrifix instead of hot glue, and it really works really well. I did this, like I said, I had filmed this before, so I've been using this for a while, and it's just as sturdy as ever. So I just kind of decided where I wanted it, added the Fabrifix, and normally Fabrifix dries pretty fast, but I let this sit for a little while because I really wanted it to be dry before I moved on to the next step. And so the next thing that I wanted to do was to create kind of a ribbon background. So I've got this sheer Swiss dot pink ribbon, and I'm really just kind of bunching it up to create the look of a bow. Now you could go in and tie a bow. There's a lot of cute things that you could do with the ribbon and tulle to make it a fan shape behind the flower, but I just kind of bunched it up until it kind of looked like a bow, and then I used the Fabrifix to attach it. And then finally, I've got this other little piece of ephemera that I'm going to put on the back to cover up all the attachments and the back of the flower and everything. And again, I'm just using the Fabrifix and attaching my little piece of paper to the back. And now it's time for my crowning touch, which is my rainbow ephemera here. And again, I'm going to use the Fabrifix. And I really like the Fabrifix when you're attaching paper to fabric, or in this case, the silk flower. It seems to hold really, really well. And there's my little paper clip. So I popped that in the top of my book, and I just love things sticking out of the top of my book. So I love how that looks. So for my next spread, what I wanted to do was use the butterflies and flowers to cover this hymnal page. And the hymn is "'Tis So Sweet to Trust in Jesus." And I just love the words of the hymn. So I wanted to cover it up, but I didn't want to lose the words of the hymn. So what I decided to do was I'm going to use this little journal card on this page, but I decided to type the words to the hymn on my vintage typewriter on a piece of vintage onion skin paper that you can see through. And I've done that here. I've typed all the words on it, and I'm going to sew it across the top of the page, and then I'm going to put that cross journal card underneath, and it's going to show through. So I'm going to take this over to the sewing machine and attach everything. On the butterflies, I actually layered 2 of the butterflies together to give it a little dimension, and I've done that here. I've just taken several stitches in the center of each flower. I was playing with some of my decorative stitches there on some of those, a little asterisk kind of star stitch, which I really liked. And I love all the texture and the threads on the back. I know if you don't like that, you could just cover that up with a piece of paper, but for me, I love all of that texture hanging down. And so for my onion skin paper, I just did a little zigzag stitch across the top so that I can lift that flap and write underneath. And I'm attaching my journal card, and you can see it kind of peeking through the onion skin paper, which I really like. I love those layers. And then I may end up attaching that card to the paper, or I may just leave it attached with a paper clip. And that's a really quick and easy page to do. So now I'm really excited to show you this. This is using those cassette tapes, and there's so many fun things that you could do with these. But what we're going to do today is I'm going to make a little accordion fold folder out of these and show you how to do it. It's super quick and easy, and I think this would make a great little Happy Mail gift or a gift for friends at church, or just anything you could do. Anytime you wanted to give a little gift, this would be perfect for that. And the flashcards that come in the bundle actually are the exact perfect size to fit into the cassette tapes. So you could glue these cassette tapes right to your page, on 3 sides to create a little pocket, but the accordion folder just makes it so fun. So once you get your cassette tapes all cut out, you're going to take some paper, and I've printed that marble paper. It comes in pink and blue, on pink on one side and blue on the other. And I'm just going to, you want to cut 3 rectangles the same size as your cassette tapes. And the first thing that we're going to do is create the bottom of our accordion folder. And so you can see that I'm going to have the pink be on the outside and the blue be on the inside. So I've actually got it turned the wrong way there. And then we're going to use the other 2 for the sides. So you want to take that bottom piece, and you're going to just create a gusseted bottom. And the way to do that is to just fold it on 2 sides. And you can, if you're a very precise person, you could use a scoring board and measure a 1/2 inch about. For me, I just kind of eyeball it and fold it over. I lay it down on one side and fold it over, then lay it on the other side and fold it over, and there's my bottom. And so you're going to do that, and then you're going to attach it to your 2 cassette tapes. And I made a little mistake here, which I will show you. Actually, I made several mistakes here. I think I'm only going to show you two, though. So I've got my piece folded here. And again, if you want to measure, you can do that. And now I'm just going to attach it to my cassette tape. So I'm just using some adhesive here, some dry adhesive, and I'm going to attach one flap to one side and the other flap to the other side, leaving that little 1/2 inch bottom in the center. And that's going to create the bottom of our accordion fold. Now, this is where I make a couple of my mistakes, which you're going to see here in just a minute. So I've got my cassette tapes attached now. You can see it's formed my bottom. And then the next thing I want to do is attach some ribbon to the tops of my cassettes so that I can tie it closed. Now, this isn't a necessary step, but I just think that it looks really pretty and I like to do that. And I'm using some blue seam binding here, and you could take a stitch in it. Again, I'm not sure. I didn't use my sewing machine as much as I normally do, and I don't remember why. But I used some adhesive to attach the ribbon to the top of both of these sides. And as I was doing that, I realized what one of the mistakes was that I had made, and you may have seen it by now. I don't know. We'll see if you have or not. So the next thing that you want to do is put your accordion folds on the side. And so I've got my other two rectangles, and I'm just going to accordion fold those up. Each little fold is about 1/2 inch, and it doesn't have to be precise, but you just want them to be even, and you're going to go all the way across. Now here is where I discovered what I had done, and that is that I had put my blue cassette tape on upside down. When you put the folder up, it was upside down. So you want to make sure, and I just pulled it off, I'm going to reattach it, but you want to make sure that when you put those two cassette tapes down on your gusseted bottom, that 1A is facing, or 1A is at the bottom and 1A is at the top. You'll see I'll turn it around here so you can see what I mean. So before you glue, just make sure you have it like this: 1A at the bottom and 1A at the top. And when I say A, you know, the side A. And that way when you close your folder, both your A's will be facing the right way. So I thought, no problem, you know, you can fix it. Everything can be fixed. And so I just added some more of the paper to cover up the torn bits at the top of that cassette, and then fixed my little gusset and added the ribbon back on, and I was ready to go. So now I'm just going to attach my accordion sides to the pocket, and we're going to sandwich them between the cassette tapes just like this, and I'm just going to use that same adhesive to attach it. Now you see here that it sticks up a little above my cassette tapes, and I really didn't want that. So all I'm going to do is take that out and just snip off the top of it. So if you do that and you don't like how it's sticking over the top, and you just want to give it a little room to breathe, just snip off the top, and then we're going to use the adhesive to attach it and sandwich it in between your two cassette tapes. And you just want to make sure that you're lining it up right on the edge of the cassette, and you can line up those two corners with the two corners of the cassette tape and use that adhesive, and there you go. There is your little mini accordion pocket. I think it is so cute, and it's got some flashcards in it already, and you could add tabs to these flashcards. You could decorate them before you put them in, and of course you could put other things inside besides the flashcards. Maybe you just want to make a little accordion pocket full of goodies for your friend. So you can see here what one of my other mistakes was. Do you see how it won't stand up? It's falling over. It's because I didn't line up the cassettes evenly on that bottom part. You see I left about 1/4 inch on one side and 1/8 inch on the other side, and that happens when you don't like to measure, and so it won't stand up, which is okay with me. I'm going to keep it in a pocket anyway, but if you want it to stand up, make sure that you line those cassette tapes evenly on the bottom of that pocket piece. So now we're going to do some fun things with these little record album sleeves, and you can see I've got them all cut out here, and all you want to do is cut them out, cut out the center, and then you're just going to fold those 3 little flaps over to create your pocket. And I cut a thumb notch in mine with a round circle punch as well. And then you can slip the records in to create like a little journaling card, a little round journaling card. And I've even put what made it look like there was an impression on the sleeve so that it looks like there's a 3D record inside your sleeve. So I wanted to show you a little trick too for cutting these circles. I use a hole punch and cut a circle in the middle of your circle, a little hole punch, and that gives a place to stick your scissors in, and then you can cut your circle out a little bit easier if you don't have a circle punch that matches. So this is another way that you can use these sleeves. Instead of just gluing them to the page like a pocket, what I did here was I took some of the pattern paper from the kit and I cut it to size into a little square, and I glued that to the back of my pocket instead of gluing it to the page. And this is one of my favorite patterns, those blue and green flowers. And I just glued that to the back of the pocket so that I could create sort of an independent little pocket. And so that makes it like an actual little record sleeves, which is really fun. And then you can put the record in there, and then you can use that as a gift. You could use it as an invitation to something, maybe if you have a theme party going on. And then you could also take these little pockets and then use some washi tape to attach them at the seams and create a little mini book with them as well. So there's a lot of fun ways that you could use these. What I decided to do was create the little individual record sleeve pockets, and then I'm going to make a pocket page in my album to tuck them into. And so what I've done is just taken a vintage book page here and stamped the word loved on it in pink, and I use these super groovy stamps, and I will link those in the description below. And I'm adding it to my page. This time I know that I am going to sew. I actually did sew on this one. And one of the things that I did was I wrapped the book page around the page, so it kind of creates a little tuck spot on the back page as well, which is a lot of fun. So then I just sewed it on 3 sides to create my pocket, and now I have the perfect place to tuck my little album card pockets into. And again, I think this would make such a fun gift for someone. Then on the other side, I wanted to create a pocket for my cassette accordion folder, and I decided to use a giant journaling tag for that, and I think these are great for that. They're just a perfect size for pockets, but I knew that I couldn't just fold it flat like I normally would. So instead I wanted to do a gusset fold. And so what I'm going to do is, you can see here I'm folding the 2 sides in to kind of measure where I want them, and then you're going to fold the bottom up to create the size pocket that you want. So you can see here I've folded the 2 sides in and the bottom up, and it creates guidelines for you. And then what you're going to do is, if you see when I open it up here, see how there's 2 little squares at the bottom of the pocket? I'm just going to snip those squares out first. So we're just going to follow the lines that we created from the fold and snip those 2 little squares out and fold those flaps in. And now I'm going to do that gusset fold the same way we did on the cassette tape accordion folder. We're going to create a little gusset fold. First I'm going to snip those squares off. I guess I forgot that step. And now we're going to do the gusset fold. So again, we're just going to fold it twice, creating a little 1/2 inch gusset on the sides of the pocket and on the bottom of the pocket. And so we're going to do that there, and we're going to do that on the bottom, and we're going to attach it with adhesive, and then we've created kind of a 3D pocket that you can fit something bigger in, something thicker, like our accordion fold album. Well, I decided that I needed a little decoration on the outside of my pocket, so I went through my stash and found this super cute little mushroom, and that was the perfect finishing touch for my gusseted pocket. So I wanted to tell you that I'm going to make an album cover for this album out of my vintage sheet stash, and I hope to try to film it for you. I'm not sure that it's going to work out like I think, so you'll either see the video of it or you will see the cover itself just appear in a video. We'll see what happens. In the meantime, if you want a fun video to watch, I think you will really like this one. It's got all kinds of pocket techniques in it and a tissue paper texture technique that is super easy and creates beautiful glittery texture on your paper. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you could give this video a thumbs up and share it with a friend, I would so appreciate that. I hope that you are staying healthy and safe, and I wish you a week filled with peace and grace, and I'll see you next time here on Pink Paper Peppermints.